Hey everyone, how's it all going? Just, right, yeah, let's see. Doom, 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 doom. Yeah, everybody's turning up. That's great. Let's get straight into it. It's already getting late. The exposure's gone to hell again. It's reflections of the Macbook more than anything else. Is this? That's, yeah, 344. Okay, we just gotta actually finish up this job from the other day. It's been through testing, but I've got to. I said I would redo the paste on it, so I best do that before I forget. This was the capacitor one that we did. That was all a very nice, clean capacitor job. Unfortunately, we put it all back together and then realised that the paste would be pretty damn old in it, and so even though it isn't actually how can I say, even though it's not actually failing or really giving grief at the moment, I think it'd be a nice thing to send it back with fresh paste in it. Of course, the downside is, it's another 30 odd minutes of labour, but some things you just do because you're a nice person. Yeah, supposedly. Am I a nice person? I don't know. Don't think so. Anyway. Hopefully we won't have any grief with this, and then we can get on with the real jobs for tonight, which are 1466 and a 1707, I think I have. Mr. Hughes, Stanford, AJ, Martin, Sutter, Stewart. Yeah, this actually is the 622 camera again. I've taken the JVC with the zoom, optical zoom. I've taken that off for the moment until I can work out what the heck is going on. It's very strange. It's almost like it was like a first attempt at HD recording, and they took something like a 720p sensor and just sort of pushed it and sort of encoded it out to HD. I don't know. I just can't quite make sense of it. I can't seem to get the quality up, and that's a bit of a problem. Which is a real shame, because it would have been fantastic for the job. So I might just send it back to Jim, and then he can at least sell it off to someone or something like that. Damn hidden screws. Yeah, it'd be nice if the image was nice and crisp with the JVC. At least we know the principle will work, so maybe I'll just have to find myself a Sony A5100 or something like that. Same sort of thing that Lewis was using. Maybe find something that can do 60 frames per second, so at least I'm getting my equipment up to that level, ready for when I have a machine that can do the encoding at that level. Okay, what have I forgotten? We've got everything, yep. Has the spider calmed down yet? Well, he's outside somewhere. Not rightly sure where. But the important thing is it's not, not causing any grief with the fur kittens. So we don't normally encounter those out and about. They are normally underground in tunnels, and they only typically come out when something tasty goes past their tunnel entrance, and they snare it, drag it down. But in this case, for some reason it drifted up, and the fur kids got a hold of it, so fortunately I was right there, so I was quick to be able to get it to safety. Spiders don't really bother me, so I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm careful with them. So I'm just knocking off all the excess paste on this, and there's quite a bit of excess. Yeah, I'll still get a scare if a huntsman jumps out and runs along my leg. Yeah, huntsmen's, no matter how, well, okay, maybe there are some people, but I like to think no matter how used to spiders you are, when those suckers run over you unexpectedly, yeah, you jump. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the spiders do deal with a lot of the animals, a lot of insects we don't want in the house. So like I said, I've got no problem whatsoever having spiders in the house or around the house, and I do my best to save them if anything comes up. Yeah, they don't understand why they're being harassed. It's actually a pretty unforgiving world to be a spider. You pretty much get the short end of the stick on everything when it comes to being a spider. I mean, if you look at the horror stories of what wasps do to spiders, yeah, it's like the very real aliens type behavior. If you're reincarnated, you do not want to be a spider. Yeah, snakes, I'll give you that, AJ. I mean, snakes are easier to deal with than spiders. Mostly because you can actually handle snakes, as in physically, yeah, you can get a hold of them, and they're generally, as long as you haven't ticked them off, they're generally fairly placid. That's it, I don't recommend, if you're not a professional snake handler, please don't handle snakes. No matter how safe or non-venomous you may think they are. Just keep your distance and you'll be right. RDP, unfortunately I hit two cockatoos on the way home. Damn thing's frustratingable, but yeah. I feel for you, RDP. I know, you're not, yeah, I've had a similar experience. One night I was driving out of town on the highway and it was raining pretty heavily, and then we're on this section of highway and there's floodplain either side of the highway. And then all of a sudden on the highway there's this family of ducks and I had nowhere to go. They couldn't move fast enough, and that still gives me horrors thinking about that. AJ, we had two red belly blacks in the driveway. Snakes, I'm guessing. Yeah, red belly black snakes. They can be a little bit feisty, but same as always. As long as you leave them alone, they're good. Overload them. Hey, Mohammed, Benjamin, ticks. Oh yeah, ticks creep me out too. Ugh, disgusting things. I saw my first bandy the other night. I think about 15, 17 years I've been looking for a bandy. Finally saw one the other night. Unfortunately, I didn't get to it quick enough, and yeah, I was not happy. I also very rarely will see coral snakes here, and it's always a shame to when you can't get to see them very often. There is one snake that comes out at night that I'm happy not to see, and that's the Carpentaria snake. It's a very, yeah, it's another typical Australian brown looking snake, but they can have a bit of a nasty effect on your pets. Not in the same way that your typical eastern brown or such, but still have to watch out for them. The worst thing is that they're very they don't like to come out much. You know, they're not out and about at all. They don't really make themselves found. But yeah, when you do catch them, it's a bit of a problem. Alright, let's hope that we did this right. I hope I didn't botch up anything. Start putting some screws back in. RDP, I hate it when they do that. Yeah, they fly off in one direction and then they cut back around and you're like, why? Galahs are notorious for that. Is that ceramic paste? It's Arctic Aluminium, yeah, premium ceramic polysynthetic thermal compound. It's not liquid metal and it doesn't have a fancy name and it doesn't make gamer boys go weak in the knees. But it works well, it's dependable, it doesn't require extensive levels of setup work and flattening or spreading or anything like that. It's just apply a reasonable amount onto the die, apply the heat sink, squish around, Bob's your uncle, you're done. Hey Joe Cartwright. It's a solid solution for everyday sort of work. Keith? Come on, get in. Very good. This is like having to eat your vegetables first before having dessert. Yeah, Joe, I've certainly never had any troubles with it. So it's, yeah, it's well priced. It has a long tube life. I've never had a problem with it drying out or misbehaving because I've let it sit on the shelf for too long. It's definitely it's a winner in my book. Yeah, fine if you want to be some sort of specialty expert or whatever and you want to get that extra 1.5 degrees. Although if you're an expert, you'll speak in fancy talk and say, I want to get another 1.5 Kelvin out of this. But for the norms like me, it's all good. Okay, why do I have 2 screws still here? Ah. Hey, Catherine. One, two. Still can't get over the way they do this battery cable setup. It's kind of funny, we're putting screws into basically broken plastic eyelets. I didn't put the display connector in. Now, of course, the 10-minute tech would go along and just plug that in right now, no problem. And, 99 out of 100 times, that's probably not going to cause a problem. But I don't want to have gotten this far only to ruin it, because I didn't want to spend another 30 seconds taking the battery back out. Like I said, 99 out of 100, nothing's going to go wrong. But chances are, when you don't want it to go wrong, it's going to go wrong. So, oh, I forgot to do my 2-hour limit thingy. How long have I been running now? Let's see. 17 minutes, we'll call it 20, so 1 hour 40. Timer 1. Start. I think we're done. I was going to say, watch out for the Vogans. Crikey. Screw overboard. Fortunately, it landed on the life raft just down below the desk, which is my leg. Thank goodness for that. I just realised I need to set another alarm so that I remember to take the car in for service tomorrow. I don't want to have a repeat of a couple of weeks ago where I had a 9 a.m. scheduled start for the service and I didn't get it there until 11 o'clock because I was like, oops, forgot. Fortunately, as it turned out, they couldn't fix my problem, so it wasn't a complete waste of time. Or rather it was, but I didn't completely waste their time. I still felt bad about it because obviously I'm fairly pedantic about my customers turning up on time, and when they don't I get all cranky pants. Night, Azia. Oh geez, yeah, okay, yeah. The US is waking up to fun and games. Oh, the poetry is terrible, yes, on the I suppose that's what makes it all the more amusing. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm just booting back up into our test suite And then I can see if we've got reasonable temperatures. Pardon me. As long as we've got reasonable temperatures, I'll be fine. And I'll be surprised if we do not. Hey, yes. Been a hard day, couple of days here for us. We finally had to take the kittens down to the rescue, or send them off to the rescue. That was last night, so a bit over 24 hours ago, about 30 hours ago. And yeah, you miss them straight away. It's very hard handing over these little critters that are dependent on you, particularly given that we lost the mother, Treacle, when she got hit by the car. Uh, so yeah, I was sort of like been walking around a bit of a daze, and then today I went down to collect the containers, the carry cases that we took them down in, and I found out that even though they were supposed to go to the other town last night, they actually were still here. So that was a difficult thing because so I came home and I said to Alita, I said, they just told me that the kittens are actually still at the clinic, and it's one of those things. It's like, do you not go down there to have as like a second goodbye, or do you think of the first one as the band-aid being ripped off really quickly? Anyway, Alita went down and had a bit of a pat and cuddle just to see him again before they went off to the Angel Paws rescue place. And I think that actually worked out pretty good. It was... you don't know how it's going to go when you see these things, you see them again, but I think this time it was a help just to be able to give the kittens the idea that, the humans that we're used to, they came back, so maybe they'll come back again. And then by the time they realize that we're not coming back because they'll be in another town, they hopefully will be beginning to establish contact with other humans and other cats, things like that. So, and for us, it was just nice to be able to say goodbye yet again, sort of thing. So it's difficult. It's not really what we are trying to do with what we're doing here. We sort of more foster young or adult cats and try and socialize them away from the ways of the stray, so to speak. And then once they are, we can the plan is to either just long-term foster them or find people who want to have them. So the thing is, not everybody wants a kitten. I mean, I for one don't really like going through the kitten phase or dealing with the kitten phase because it's a lot of extra work. They're complete scatterbrained idiots. They hoover everything that is around them. I mean, some adult cats do that too. But just get this up and running. Yeah, for me, I prefer the slightly older cat. Like by the time they're about 2 years old, I find they finally settled down and stop being idiots as much. Yeah, well. RDP, it was very tempting to, but it's just not realistic for us to keep one at this point. And it's a little bit of a knife twist for us because we're so close to getting this place and setting aside 1/4 acre to look after them all, and to miss out on that window, it's a bit of a twist in the gut with the knife. At the same time, it probably could have been a little bit cruel to only just like take one or even two, and then there'll just be the rest of them left to whoever else they're going to go to. It's difficult, and you always second guess your choices. You live with a lot of guilt. You live with a lot of survivor's remorse, I suppose, or virtual survivor's remorse. But that's the price you pay for doing this sort of work. Fortunately, at least you hope that the payoff is better in terms of the emotional payoff. This is doing really good. 24 frames per second, 100 centigrade. No complaints here. This is running beautifully. Paul Marrow, Dad just inherited a 15-year-old cat. So, I mean, that's perfectly mellow for me. We have had quite a few where they've been older, and we've looked after them until we've had to say goodbye, in the sense of, it's either they have to be put down or, well, that is really the outcome. The tax stuff is sorted. I had a very long night. I finished up at about 5:30 Monday morning. It sort of came out about where I was expecting. I made one bugger up, as in they wanted, it was about $16,000 extra I had to pay on top of another 15,000, and I sent it to the wrong tax account. So instead, it's gone as a sum to my business side of things, which is for BAS. Australian businesses will know what I'm talking about. The BAS is deals with the 10% tax that we have to manage on everything we do. It's a goods and service tax. And so I sent it to my BAS account rather than my personal income account. So my BAS account is showing a fairly impressive credit level, whereas my personal income tax account is showing a very bad overdrawn level. Anyway, I'll call them up tomorrow and get them to fix that up before I do anything else. And then in a week's time, I've got to do another tax, another quarter BAS, and that'll be probably about $7,000 or $8,000. I've got to cough up again. So unfortunately, all the savings that I had, well, not all, but a good portion of the savings I had have now been whittled away. But I am still at my 20%, plain 20% deposit mark. I'll see if I can save for another month or two, maybe try to get 30% down. Because I think if I can walk into the bank with 30% on deposit, I think they should be able to let me go through without any of the, Spanish Inquisition and probing and blood samples and all that sort of crap. Hathtra, yeah, that's it is difficult. It's one of those things that plagues your mind a lot when you do take on a pet. I feel for people who have dogs most of the time, because dogs inherently they just don't live as long, and that's really cruel because they are also so, well, you know what dogs are like. And so that makes it extra painful, I think, for people who love dogs. At least with cats, you can get 25, sometimes 30 years, if all goes well. Okay. Time to get into the Macbooks. What have we got? We've got 1466. Yeah, 0.1 interest for the Reserve Bank, which means probably about 4%. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if, in fact, the interest rates for loans from the banks, I won't be surprised if they try to actually push it up slightly. So I imagine they're probably actually starting to see less income from their usual interest-based dividends sources. It's kind of like with credit cards. Now is the worst time possible for credit cards, because the banks are going to go, well, where can we draw in more cash? And the way they do it is they just go for the whole unsecured debts. And credit cards, they're like 22% now, going up. When the reserve rate is up high, the credit cards tend to come down. And the fence is good for now. It's, we're all on standby. Okay, so we've got a 1466. What is the fault with this anyway? As soon as you plug in, the CPU fan immediately runs full speed. No lights on charge. Try a different safe port. No charge. No CPU activity on Chipmunk. Ooh. Okie dokie. Well, we could have ourselves a dead PCH. Can I disable caps key in Ubuntu as in permanently? You could. I'm sure there's probably something that lets you detect if cap box is on and then turn it off. 6 skills, 1502 I scored for $50, powered on for a minute. Oh no, cracked and down. Oh, that sucks. How's the screen though on it? Because really 1502's the screen is what's valuable. Yeah, Jim, I saw there was some indication that they want the banks to start loaning out more. But I can bet your boots up they're not going to make it easy for me to get a loan. I mean, my net, or my gross turnover was about 150,000 last year. And the year before it was 110, the year before 120, something like that. But they just don't like to look at that stuff. They don't like to look at the fact that the last 15 years you've never had a loss year or anything like that. No, sorry, okay, we've got liquid damage right there. That's bad news. 347. Screen is fine. Oh, well, then you're pretty much on a win there. Not really sure what to think of that. Yickety yuck. Looks like it probably came through the trackpad. Catherine, I'm pretty sure there is a way you can in Linux just disable it outright. Oh, wow. That's broken too. Okay, someone sledgehammered this. Yeah. Might be able to reconstruct that. Might. I don't even know how that got quite so damaged, to be honest. Barcode? Right, thank you. There we go. Yeah, that's a little bit of a train wreck. Adrian Higgins, yeah. Oh, you wouldn't be welcome here, that's for sure. No, we don't need to kill him here. Spiders are friends here. Okay, so the problem we've got here is that they've crimped that copper in a way... Well, not copper, it's brass. Damn it. High school metal shop work didn't teach me how to handle this. I'll probably just get it, and then it'll break from fatigue. Mongrels. Realistically, I'm better off just clip that off. Just clip this off, and then we can always repair this later, put a new one on. It will still technically work, it just won't be quite so well protected. Okay. Alright. So we've got 5 volt, we've got power, we've got fan spin, we've got no mag safe. 327 milliamp. Not honestly sure what to think of 327. Let's have a look at the voltage on our 342 and see what it's telling me. Okay, so our 340... No. Hold it on properly, Paul. Oh, it's shut down now. Okay, 342 is good. Let's see, G3 hot. Okay, G3 hot's way down at 1.7, so we could have a dead SMC or something else. Let's take the board out and have a look. Hey, Warren Stamps. So RDP, I didn't make enough last financial year that I had to defer everything I spent on my equipment, which was close to 10,000. Why couldn't you claim back on anything? Surely you should get a GST credit or an income tax credit and then apply it to the next year. I would have thought that's what you could do. What business structure are you running under? Sole trader or company or partnership? Hey Bruce. Feels weird calling an American Bruce. How's it going? Hey Crazy Joe. Americans aren't supposed to have the name Bruce. That's exclusively for the use of Australia, but no one in Australia is allowed to be called Bruce. It's kind of like Foster's beer. So supposedly that's what we drink in Australia, but the reality is it's actually an export beer. And no one in Australia actually gets their hand... You can't even buy it in the shops as far as I know. You had to earn a minimum of 20,000 sole trade. Oh, okay. Right, and you're under that. Ooh, okay. So you wouldn't have even had pretty much no income tax even. You would have been under the tax-free threshold. Crazy Joe, yeah, I saw that. With Jessa joining the group. Although, as far as I know, it's more on behalf of her current tech. Okay, that just fell straight off for some reason. Could have just been me. Oh, wow, look at that. SMC. Somebody's doing SMC reball. I can't make a song out of that. It's too upsetting to make a song out of that. Yep, that's going to be one messed up SMC. Called it. Still, it wasn't like it was not obvious or anything that there was a problem. Oh dear. Let's have a look at the juicy train wreck. Oh my lord. Yep. And there's going to be a lot of small part rework on that too. Oh. Looks like I won't be getting to that second MacBook tonight. Yeah, without doubt that has to be replaced. Let's see what else got caught in that train wreck. There's a bit of damage around the backlight there. It's not bad though, probably won't require us replacing the controller, just giving it a wash. Hopefully nothing else is taken out. Okay, all sys power good area is good. Okay, clock is problem there. So yeah, we've got a comment that I don't know if that corrosion around that clock there is going to be enough to inhibit the clock, but it wouldn't be good either way. And just check the top side. I mean, realistically, we should be happy that it is the SMC. Better it be the SMC than one of the CPU controllers, power controllers or MOSFETs. There are worse things than SMC reballs. Barry West, why don't you get micro equipment and oh right. Yeah. Super small gear. Wow, that flux looks really green. Maybe it's its true color. But Barry, I mean, if they did that, I would be out of a job. So no, do not make that recommendation at all to Apple. Please let Apple continue to allow liquid damage to infect their boards. Otherwise, you are taking the bread from my mouth. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about making these suggestions that will leave me broke? Shame on you, Barry. Where's your capitalistic sense? Barry should be banned for a couple of days for that. Hey, Azia. Let's see, I've been trying to create a boot USB, but mine take forever to boot. Did you have to do anything special? Nope, I didn't, but you do need to get a decent quality USB stick. If you don't get a decent quality USB stick, then it's going to be hell. It's going to be slow, painful. Like I'm mostly just trying to first see what I'm going to have to do with all these small parts. Good man, Barry. Remember to iron your hands as well, like a good Dobby. Dobby must iron his hands. Dobby irritated the hell out of me. Steve, you need to go and spend time with Barry, I think. This is 80-20 mix. Just throwing in a bit of water to try and break down whatever it was that had a huge college vomit fest all over this SMC. Even if this does boot without me replacing the SMC and gives me 8.6 volts, I honestly would not trust it. So I am going to replace this. Solder Bridge, people they don't want to pay the amount that needs to be paid to fix PC laptops. They just don't. And then when they do, it's usually with the model that you can't get board views or schematics. Dobby to me was kind of like that annoying critter in Star Wars. What was his name? Misha, whatever his damn name was. what the hell was George Lucas thinking throwing that critter in? I mean, really. Jar Jar Binks, oh my goodness, the memories, the horror. Yeah. So to me, Dobby was like Jar Jar Binks. I can see I'm going to get demonetized because YouTube will be offended and everyone else is going to be offended. Alright, that whole area there is probably going to be corroded and have to be knocked off. You can see this whole section here is a dark color. That means it's just going to break off. It's there, see? So I'm going to run solder across these, see what happens. Some of them are probably going to lift off. Some of these are definitely lost all their solder. Overall, considering how hideous it was, you gotta admit, after the cleanup, it's not too bad. Yeah, Benjamin, that's right. Yeah, YouTube's gonna cancel me over Jar Jar and Dobby hate. Oh well, maybe it'll distract America from the Trump-Biden scenario. We actually had elections over the weekend here, and nothing too out of the ordinary. It wasn't a federal election though, it was the state elections here. Oh, I do love my fume extractor. I mean, check that out. It's just like, yeah, come to me, come to me. You want to smoke? I'll take you. Oh, bravo, Paul. Put a bridge across all of it. That's fantastic. Yeah, how to fix a MacBook. Put a solid bridge of solid. Well, check out the fluid dynamics going on there. I love watching this sort of stuff. You can't really see it, unfortunately. I love watching how the fluids move around after you've soldered. It's still going. So you've got a couple of substances there. One's obviously inadmissible in the other. And it's just doing that all through the latent heat, and I'd say what it is half of it is the evaporating alcohol. I don't know if you can see the activity going on in there. Maven, yeah, this is my homemade extractor. Anyway, clearly these three caps should really be removed. These two resistors here, I might see if I can save them. Teresa, you don't get to cancel being an adult, I'm sorry. That's something they forget to tell you when you wish to become an adult. The only way out is to reach the end. Yeah, I'm going to take that, and that off. So 5 parts are coming off. Sometimes you just look at the parts and you kind of go, and the pads, and you go, it's just not going to be worth my while to try and rescue what's already there. So you're just better off removing and doing it properly. Yeah, I know they join together. It's not a problem. Peter Ponders, indeed, no shortcuts. I mean, sometimes you can get away with shortcuts, but in these sort of scenarios, you know it's just going to come back and become a long cut for you. It's not the first time I've had to deal with these particular ones. That pad there doesn't seem too bad. Joseph, I remember that, yes. Yeah, occasionally you get that when you're scraping away on a board or something like that and you're picking up all the copper pieces. And yeah, you get that beautiful tinsel effect. See if we can revive these. They're going to be reluctant, that's for sure. Not too bad. I just got rid of that damn bridge and I put it back. Bravo. Jim, your fun hours, as in when certain chemicals start to spread around in your system. So we have to get rid of all the trashy, corroded conformal coat. There we go, we're making some tinsel. So gotta keep going. Okay, looks tolerable. Yeah, there's a big blob of solder for you. A little bit too much. Tony W? No, no one's worked on this one before, just me. It's just been liquid damage, that's all. I think probably what might have happened is someone opened it up, just checked a few fundamental things, like is it the DC in card, stuff like that. Easy Cook, you sound more like you should be a mukbang channel. As Paul once again violates all the rules of repair and damn it, gets snagged. Yep. It's like fishing all over again. I'll just cast my line over into the tree roots there because I know there's going to be some awesome barramundi hanging out. Oops, what's happened? I've gotten a snag. How shocked am I? So shocked. That's the gambles we take. Nah, thank you. Thank you very much for the £20. Would you rather I say 20 quid? How do you guys feel about that? Do you prefer it to be called quid or pound? It's a bit like Australians saying bucks or dollars. YouTube, do not monetize me for saying bucks. Ha, Jim, you do not want me doing that surgery. Unless you want to wake up with a very bad lead poisoning situation. I see you've told everybody. Clearly, obviously, I wasn't going to say anything, but I see you brought it up, so that's good. Obviously, when you tell people things, you do so in the assumption of privacy. Martin, you say pounds. Okay. So, quid, when people say quid, is that more like a East Ender type thing, or just people being a bit cockney? I should be ashamed of myself, I've got British heritage, and I don't even know what the British are going to do when they say things like that, eh? Really, the best of my British heritage comes from watching The Goodies and The Young Ones. Alright, Jim, I was kind of curious whether you'd bring it up or not, so that's cool. Informal among friends, got it. Rightio. Understood. The big stuff is pounds, right? So when you're actually walking into the bank and it's a stick up, you're going to want them to make sure they give you plenty of pounds to make it worth it for when you finally get thrown in prison and you come up with a new different kind of pound. Quid is not a Cockney expression, but it is more likely Mockney. Oh, okay. Actually, we used to get a lot of British TV here in Australia when I was young on TV, but then there was a bit of a agreement between Australia and the US. And as such, we basically saw the demise of British TV and the introduction of American TV more and more. That was pretty much from the mid-80s onwards, I think. It probably was an earlier thing too, but certainly in the early 80s it was primarily British TV that we would get. And then the late 80s we started to see a bit more American showing up. You mongrel. You filthy little mongrel. Okay, so there was obviously a problem with that pad and it just jumped off, so we'll spin that around, see if it sticks down. If it doesn't, we'll replace it. Ed, thank you. £2. Oh wait, $2. Man, my eyes did not focus fast enough and I just sort of saw that as pound. $2. Thank you very much, Ed. Let's see, Jim. Looks like I got my home loan refinancing sorted too. Oh, cool. Can't wait to depart Bank of Queensland. It's funny because... Oh wait, no, the bank I was approaching at one point was the Queensland Country Credit Union, although they're now just called Queensland Country Bank. But honestly, if I can get... I know people are going to be shock and horror, but if I can get 30%, I'm probably just going to go straight to the Commonwealth Bank. Because all of my business dealings is done through the Commonwealth Bank, and they are professional a-holes. But at the same time, I sort of feel like if I get a home loan through them, it's going to be kind of like white paper type scenario where it's just like, okay, here's your home loan, here's your payments, no fancy crap. Whereas when I'm dealing with the unions and the other softer, nicer banks, seems to be a lot more trash going around there, and I feel like I'm going to end up paying in the long run more because of their niceness than if I just stick to the plain white paper Commonwealth Bank loan. Hey Shad, today the Australian dollar changes. You know, I've been sitting there watching it on XE and it's sitting at a 0.701, 0.703. I'm really hoping that when the US election is out of the damn way and there's a winner, one way or another, the US dollar will finally come back up in value, and then the Australian dollar consequently will go down, and finally my US dollars will be worth something. AJ, amen to that. Commonwealth Bank of Australia, the biggest mother lovers, as one of SLJ would put it. Yeah. Yeah, they really are complete and utter. Yeah. But at the same time, I think if you can get up to their level, like you say, look, here's 30%, give me 180,000, here's your 30%. They'll probably go, yeah, okay, no worries. Yeah. Do you even want to do the form? Nah, stuff it, just give me the money. Okay. But when you're dithering around at 10, 15%, I think that's when they're sort of like, yeah, we don't want to deal with you. Joseph King, what I'm trying to say is that at least with the Commonwealth Bank, I know that that's what they're going to do, and they're arrogant enough to pretty much do it straight to your face. Don't tell me what I already know about the world being a-holes in the first place. I know that. I'm just trying to find levels of a-holes. I spent the last 15 years digging myself out of the hole created by a-holes. And now it's time for me to become one. Be reborn. I'm trying to decide whether I should put the small parts in now or after I've done the SMC. I have a feeling I should do it now because I normally don't run into any trouble. Actually, what I'll do is I'll take the SMC off, put the small parts down, and then put the SMC back on. ANZ, I've actually just walked away from them. They were the ones that I had a card with them, and 12 months later, almost 12 months later, they sent me a message say, you owe us money. And I was like, you idiots. You sent me a letter to say it's all closed. And now you're telling me I owe you money? I didn't, but I was just like, nope. I don't think I'll be dealing with you guys. Like I said, I kind of like the Commonwealth for the fact that they're honest about how terrible they are. What do they say? Better the devil you know, as it were. And so far as my business transactions with them, I'm very happy with how it is with business. Wow, you are weak. Weak! Come on, 250.66. Should be weak. I think it's getting time that I look at buying another quick. I do worry that at some point this one may decide that, nah, I had enough, boss, I'm going to quit for the day. And I don't want to be caught with my tool pants down, so to speak. Probably a good time for me to get it though, given that the US dollar is kind of worth something, so I can just get it from Union Repair. And it won't cost me too much in dollary dues in equivalent. And of course, Union Repair, I'm 90% sure, will take my PayPal. If they take my PayPal, then that's it. Deal done. Honest Westpac. Oh, that's a joke, isn't it? Westpac, yeah. I know this has taken me a very long time to get this edge bonding off, but you'll have to forgive me. I'm just trying to be gentle to it. There we go. And you're probably thinking, well, the SMC's got to be ripped off anyway, and it's like, yes, it does. But, you know, the brightness is just a little over the top, isn't it? Yeah. The problem with things like Bendigo, Suncorp and all that is that then I have to start jumping between the banks when it comes to money. Shifting money here, there, and then every now and then, like one in every 100 transactions or so, they're going to lose the transaction. It's going to take too long, or if I'm going to do, I just want to stick with the one bank. And given that most of my involvement with banking is everyday business, it's just easier. I mean, I do believe they can offer superior deals if you've got everything else with them. But honestly, it really does seem like maybe it doesn't matter at all. It's just who you're comfortable with. Because I know there's been plenty of people who've jumped to new banks and it's been like a honeymoon for 20 minutes. And then they realise, hell, this is just as bad as before. Just a different kind of bad. Now don't get me wrong, I know to banks, loyalty means diddly squat. You can be with them 100 years and they'll turf you out, no trouble. Which is why I'd rather not go through the fake ego boost of another bank trying to call me over. It's like, it's lies anyway. Is this ANZ 379 climate too hard? No. We're kind of doomed in the sense that the banks are capitalizing on the low reserve rates, but they really aren't passing it on because basically they're like, we need to make some money. And it's like, yeah, you're never going to pass that on to consumers. We've long since stopped now. I think probably by the time they got to about 2%, it was pretty much the end of passing it on really to consumers. Or they'd find a way to jam in a fee somehow to get that back. But I definitely want a no frills loan, because I want to be able to just sort of, if I get 10 grand one month and I want to be able to just put 10 grand into the loan, I don't want them to turn around and say, oh, I'm sorry, you can't pay it off quickly because you've got this special deal loan, which means you can't do that because otherwise we miss out on our money. Martin, that's because I have my microscope literally bolted to the table. Here's a little trick we can try. Where the hell's Jim's? I'm going to try something here. This might actually be an interesting use for that cool camera that Jim dropped over. You just have to bear with me for a few seconds while I create something. Jim Cam. No, not Jim Jam. Jim Cam. Jim Cam. And where did I put Jim's cam? Ah, there it is. I'm not going to have a lot of working range on this, as in distance that I can use it, but bear with me. It's better be worth it. And it better not make my system go out of coffee. Yeah, something like that. Anyway. Damn it. It's too big. Can't fit in there. Why does everything to do with Jim have to be trouble? I'm just trying to find a free port. Okay. All this because I'm just trying to show something to something. Oops. It's broken now. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Squeeze. That's it. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh. Yeah, there's no picture, I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to wait a second, quit. It's all Jim's fault. Yes, the Black Knight of Jim. Let's see, video capture, create new, okay. Okay. No. Yeah, it's Martin's fault. At least you can hear me, right? Damn it. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, looks like we've got 422 going on here. Alright. Now we're working. Okay, so that is how it is mounted on the desk. So you can see. And that's why you don't get much in the way of movement. So try under here. Can't see squat, too dark. Hang on there. Yeah, we can't see squat. Anyway, that's about, they're about 2.5-inch bolts that go through. And that does the trick. Yeah, it does work well. Alright, now we have to do a transfer of those small parts. I mean, there is still a wobble that can come up, like if I bang the desk, it's going to do it. But at least it's not so sensitive that just breathing on it makes it wobble. You're the wrong sort of board. Yeah, Jim, just for the cam, it's like a walk around cam. Okay, so this is going to be our donors. Let's see if we can take all three at once. The other thing that I have done on this is to keep the fume extractor isolated from the bench. There was one point where the fume extractor was putting a vibration through the bench, but now there's a fairly hefty half-foot block wall that keeps it away. Okay, so I'm going to grab these 3 caps. Hey Greg, just saw you there. Do not try this at home. Steal ourselves some flux. Alright, that has not gone according to the great plan I had in my brain. Wow, not even close. This is Noobville. Total noob. The reflections are pretty strong on that. So we cut the light down. Shoot. Way to go, Paul. Way to go. Tried to make it perfect. Botched it. No. Oh, that's terrible. That is just disgusting. Alright, well, when encountering these situations, find something to blame and run the other way. Fluxinate it. Oh my lord, that was bad. Yep, it happens. Oh my god, I am out of control. I must apologize, people. I'm not normally actually this shaky. I think I'm certainly lacking a bit of sleep, to say the least. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. But no, that was truly atrocious. Yeah, I'd say coffee is required, even though it's rather late. What I'm finding is I'm lacking the control and the pincers. Just tonight. I really can't complain. I know Lewis has a considerably more difficult time with this sort of thing. And he still does a perfectly good job, so really, there's no excuse. I need a jug of coffee, right? I need a whale of coffee. Whale, please. And then I can run around like an orange blur. Just turn off Jim's camera. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, we want a 165 board. We need an SMC. Donor 289. Okay, looks like we got one. I remember this board. This board has the PCH crack in it. Anyway, that's obviously not what we're interested in. We want this SMC. Sometimes you just need to take a break, have a breather, that sort of thing. Sometimes you need to just stop complaining. Midnight snack, toasty time, yeah, that sort of stuff would all be nice. It's not going to happen. Alita definitely needs time to recover. As you can imagine, you know, having to give the kittens to the new homes and all that's been pretty rough, especially for her, because when we lost Treacle, she had to become the new mother, as it were. And of course, yeah, they bonded pretty strongly with her, and it's inevitable. So you spend a lot of this time now just, trying to just pass the time, let the heart heal. Unfortunately, for me, like most men, I suppose, throwing myself into work helps. Toast up the trapdoor spider? Hell no. Those are awesome spiders. How dare? Damn it, Barry! You're just going for you're going for the bands all over the place, aren't you? You're just hitting all the buttons. No one touches the spider. I know they do deep fry tarantulas and things like that. I am aware of that. Handmeister, we're repairing a MacBook A1466. It's been liquid damaged. The liquid damage took out the SMC controller. We basically replace it rather than trying to repair it or anything like that. And this is a replacement controller. Now with these machines you have to get a controller that SMC that's from the same kind of board. You can't really swap them between machines, types of boards. So you got to have a stock of multiple different types of boards. Niemand. And then once you've got the board, you have to reball it. And this is the process we're going through now. We're reballing an SMC that's been taken from its board. Headmeister, yeah, I'm from Australia. Whereabouts in Australia are you? I'm up in North Queensland. You can't swap them between board types because the programming is different. I mean, you can get away with it with some, but it's still not a perfect swap. Okay, that has not... See, there's some unevenness there. It wouldn't be a problem if I was using paste, but because I'm going to be using balls, we do need to actually get that fairly even. Oh, you're from Southport. Southport or Gold Coast, what do you see yourself as? I used to work down there a fair bit. Back in the mid-90s. Back before it was all just one continuous business track between Brisbane and Gold Coast. Personally, my favourite area was more Sunshine Coast. Damn it, I've got to use the holder for this. Sunshine Coast was more my thing, particularly up in the hinterlands of Mullaney, that sort of area. I loved going up to Mullaney. It was an excellent area. Nice and cool, superb coffee, not a lot of traffic, and damn it, where the heck is my holder? I'm going to turn to Cranky Pants any second now. Yep, Cranky McCranky coming out soon. Where is that holder? It's the only holder I have that will hold these chips. Oh, right, there it is, right in front of me. Yep, like a moron. I forget that I leave it in the reballing tray. Okay, so this is our reballing tray that looks really messed up and nasty. Lots of fluff and junk. Okay. It's the way it is. I know Paradise Point, yeah. Yeah. I didn't do anything down at Paradise Point, but I do know it. I'm up in a little gold town inland from Townsville known as Charters Towers. Hey, any 555? Good to see you turn up. Peter Ponders, where in Tassie are you? Only been to Tassie once, but I do love the state. I did travel all the way from Devonport down to Hobart. Stayed in Launceston and Grindelwald. That was a long time ago now, 20 years. You're in Hobart. Oh, cool. Yeah, I know a lot of people are very dismissive of Tasmania, but I quite like Tasmania. And honestly, I think a lot of people secretly like Tasmania. They just don't want to admit it, but they do. Why Grindelwald? Why does Grindelwald freak you out? Is it because it's so Swiss? It's like they took a piece of Switzerland and just dropped it in the middle of Tasmania. The reason why I like Grindelwald is because I was over in Switzerland as well, and so it just impressed me how nicely, it wasn't obviously as cold as Switzerland, but it was a pretty good replica of Switzerland. Why do all Queensland towns sound like cheap motels? Oh, come on, man. We've got some class, I'm sure. What have you been watching, Bates Motel or something too much? Yeah, the guy must have been seriously rich to do what he did. I'd hate to see what the covenants notices are like on the properties there. I mean, they probably put you through the ringer and sue the pants off you if you do something wrong. I mean, I gotta admit, it's been done well. So if you've seen bad versions of rich people trying to make their little dreamland suburb, Fortitude Valley. Well, that's a different kind of dreamland now. I actually lived there too for a while. It was interesting, living in the red light district of Brisbane. Not quite as naughty as people would immediately think. It was rather civilised, although my living arrangement was not. I think it was about 7 guys living in a typical old Queenslander, and I lived in a broom closet. I lived in what was pretty much a broom closet. But hey, it was fun. Hunmaster, thank you very much for the $2.99. Much appreciated. Ah. So how are you feeling after the election on the weekend? Maybe we shouldn't actually talk about that because we could have come differing points of views. Gustavo from Brazil, you guys have just taken stock, not stock, you guys have just taken on the new Saab Vigans, haven't you? The, not the Vigans, the, damn it, the new Swiss Jet F fighters. They've just taken delivery of them over the last few weeks. I'm very jealous of that, to be honest. The Gripen, that's it, the Gripen. Oh, thank you, Hunmaster. No, really appreciate that. What do you do for a living? I mean, I could sort of look at your name and think that you're involved with, someone might say raising chickens, but I don't know. Is that bit of a trick name? John Lockhart, you live 25-30 minutes away from Fortitude Valley. What suburb are you in, John? Basically, I was in... I jumped around from Carindale, Fortitude Valley, Browns Plains, and... yeah, that was it. Oh wait, no, I was in Milton as well for a bit, yeah. Yeah, Milton was a bit la-di-da for me. When I say la-di-da, I couldn't afford the rent, so I had to move out. And that's when I went out to Browns Plains and Carindale. And I worked... my first place of work down in Brisbane was in West End. Oh, Ferny Grove, yeah, I know Ferny Grove, yep. Yeah, Carindale, everyone knows the big shopping centre there. I was in some of the flats that were just across the road. I think also the other thing that threw me out of Milton was how steep the driveways were. I was trying to get parts delivered, one to pick up something. Pardon me, and I just used a normal 2-wheel drive ute, and I dropped off my stuff at the house, and that was tricky enough. But then trying to get out of the driveway of the house, I couldn't. There was no traction on the rear wheels, and I'm trying to come out backwards. I had to get someone's 4-wheel drive to come along and drag me out of my own driveway. It was a bit embarrassing. And then the rents were a little bit ridiculous, so I was like, I need to find a cheaper place. Peter ponders, as a child I made my living stealing golf balls at Grindelwald, and so that's not stealing, that's just being entrepreneuring. I commend you for that technique. Emma TV, your last name is Daniels as well, cool. I lived in Samford. Okay, I don't know actually where Samford is. No. I really don't know where Samford is. I'm sorry. I feel bad about that now. I've been having so many hits here with everybody, but then now Samford's come up and I've got no idea. Looks like that's the end of my run. Spent it all on lollies. See, now that's smart. Deborah. No, still swing and a miss for me there. The last place I was in Brisbane, that was a few years ago now, probably was Red Bank Plains, and since then I haven't been back. At the back end of Mount Glorious Mountains. Okay, Mount Glorious Mountains I have been up. I'm pretty sure I remember there's a road that I nearly killed myself on when I was on my motorbike. There's a road that goes up, and I think it splits up and down outbound lanes split apart vertically, and I misjudged because I was going too fast, and I ended up on the upbound split, and this Mercedes came around the corner, and I basically just, well, I had no choice. I basically just drove off the edge of the upbound road and landed, thankfully, without killing myself on the lower road. I do apologise to that driver, whoever they were. They probably had pants as brown as mine after that. Barry West. Bet on the US election results. Oh, I actually don't know. I've been pondering on it, and I keep swinging back and forth, and I really don't know. And I mean, as it was, I botched up the Queensland state election guess as well. I thought I was going to get it. I thought it was going to be closer than what it was. What's the drive called? It's called the Postman Track, the notorious drive. Right, well, I nearly died on there. Absolutely, I never went up that road again after that. No. Adrian Higgins, you're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, that was a damn scary road. And it's funny, when I came back down, I was listening to the radio, and the radio was talking about people being dangerous on that road, and I'm like, oops, just nonchalantly whistle and walk away. Okay, have I got the right speed? Yeah. Yep. Okay, we're just waiting for the deform. Okay, we've got the deform rolling now. That's good. And then we get our flux, which I'm a little bit slow on tonight. Just get that flux in there, and I picked up a ball. I'm going to have to fix that. You see this ball here? I accidentally dragged it out with the cold flux. It's okay, we got it back in. And now we go for the full reflow. Now we do this because when you deform the balls and then apply the flux later, it stops them spitting out most times. If you, on the other hand, go straight for the flux before you deform them, they will just jump right out. That's true, Catherine. Yes, that is very true what Catherine says. Although for some people, I guess it's nice to have the representation coming up straight away. Thank you for everyone. JB from Oz is being the realistic cynic. Let's see. You're only a kid. I do video editing with Adobe Premiere Pro and code Discord bots. Oh, okay. Discord bots. Haven't tried any of those. I used to occasionally write IRC bots, but I think Discord's probably substantially more complicated than IRC ever was. There we go. A nice, deliciously perfect SMC reball. Yeah, 15, yeah. It's good to see people doing that, honestly. And I've been coding. I started coding when I was about 7 or 8. But no. You're lying through your pants there, Paul. It was 9 or 10. Started coding. Not very sophisticated, just basic stuff on the old TV computers. It's a long time ago. Crazy J, some €5. Now that's some real money. Missing the British flavour now, though, I'm afraid. Okay, I'm just reheating these to make sure that they're centered and actually stuck down. Okay, that's good. Because what can often sometimes, well, I hate it when I say things like dumb like that. Often, sometimes. what can sometimes happen is that the ball may look like it's in position, but it's not actually bonded to the pad. Usually it will stick out as a bit different, but it's not a guarantee. Anyway, so that's our SMC chip reballed. Now we finally get to put it back onto the board. Did you have a TRS-80? I did not. I had a... Well, the very first thing I was coding was a DSE. I can't say the full name because YouTube demonetizes me. But Mr. Smith's Electronics is the store. They had a clone of the Laser 2000 Z80 system. It was called the VZ200. And that was the one that I bought. But the one before that I had, that I was using, which was the neighbours, much to their horror when I found it, was the Wizard. They called it the Wizard, but it was also the same thing, a Z80 machine. And now I sort of coded those things until they dropped dead. Literally one night, because I put the soldering iron in it, trying to make a nice sound improvement. Because all you could do is just beep in them, really. Very limited musical tones. Wasn't anything like the Commodore 64 with the proper chip in it. Just cheap and nasty stuff. Anyway, so yeah, I was installing an improvement on the sound system, and then I realized at the end that I had forgotten to disconnect the power. That was my first and most expensive, relatively speaking, noob mistake. I missed Karen Tippett's super chat. Oh, thank you. Let me go back. Sorry, Karen. Adrian Higgins, Barry West. Karen Tippett. I'm sorry, Karen. Forgive me. 10 Canadian dollars for the house. The house definitely needs it. Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll have news on the house in a few weeks. I'm just waiting for the financial side of the tax submissions to level out. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I accidentally put a few too many thousand in the wrong account. I need to get that all settled out, because otherwise what will happen is the bank will know that there's something funny going on for the tax, and they'll just reject my claim, my loan. Other important thing that I only found this year is if you do have income with PayPal and you have a Australian account linked to it, then the Australian Tax Department does know the Australian value of your earnings of PayPal. Now, they're not saying that you have to declare it all. Rather, what they do is they say, we know that you received this much money from whatever sources into PayPal, so don't try to pretend as if you didn't get any money. That caused a bit of complication the other night, because I wasn't sure how to deal with it, and I couldn't find any references on how to deal with it, and I was speaking about how to deal with it, but in the end I realized all I had to do was, in my own accounting system, there was about 15,000 that I already had actually attributed to PayPal, and then I just had to declare the rest as income via the tax department. It wasn't a difficult thing. Handmaster, $2.99, thank you. Coding Discord bots is easy when you know Java. See, Java, me and Java do not get along. I'm sorry. Same with Perl. Everybody loved Perl in the 90s, the late 90s, and I couldn't do it. I tried really hard. It was like one of those relationships where you try really hard to like the person and you just can't. Well, that was me and Perl, and also me and Java. So instead, I'm more of a JavaScript, C, just original C, not C++, although Peonov has ruined me in that way. I used to be a big Pascal programmer, Turbo Pascal, Ball and Pascal if you came into it later. Ed, you don't have to declare it in the sense of they're not saying you must declare the full amount that we've seen here. Rather, they're just saying, we know that you have received this amount of money. So if you do have to declare it as income, then yeah, we know about it. But if it's not, if it's there for some other reason, then, I guess if they audit you, as long as you can say, well, it's not actually business income or whatever. If you've got a reason why you don't put it on your income, then it's fine. Okay, this chip is on a little bit wonky, but that's actually okay. In some ways, it's nice to have it on wonky because it means when it does sit down, you really notice it. Now remember, it's probably going to do a 3-jump sit down here because of the unevenness, because I'm not a competent repair person. And I'll get to your messages soon. This is critical. There we go. It's aligned itself. There's the next jump. Might have one more to go now. There we go. And there we are. We're swimming. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Oh, PHP is the other one I love. Yes, I'm a PHP person. I like the languages that other people, I wouldn't say hate, but the other people feel like primitive or insecure and things like that. So what turned me off Java, I think where it really went wrong was it was slow back in the implementations were slow back in the late 90s. And then the keystone thing with Java was that you byte compile it once and it runs everywhere, didn't actually hold up. And once that happened, I was like, nah, stuff it. I said, I'll just go back to my C, and then at the same time, PHP turned up. So when PHP turned up, and it was just like a walk in the park for me. It came so naturally, it made me cry. I mean, I literally had tears in my eyes at how easy PHP was, because I, up to then, had been working on server-side CGI bin type binary programs, and then to have this PHP turn up and you've got all that disturbingly insecure power at your hands to do pretty much everything you wanted. It was beautiful. It was like it cut my workload down by a factor of 30, 40. Fantastic. So I just want to check I didn't... See, now Pernov doesn't like JavaScript, but I love JavaScript. But Pernov and I, we have our differences. He likes C++, I like C. MySQL, I started out being an MySQL person, but then I actually switched over to Postgres. Postgres ended up being the thing for me. So whereas MySQL, it was, I don't know, something just didn't quite go right with me. But Postgres, I'm still running databases that I started back in 1998, and I'm still running off them. So they've been migrated up. But that and SQLite, I do love SQLite a lot. See, John Lockhart, I'm a web developer, so I know HTML, PHP, JavaScript, right, okay. Now I see why you said MySQL. Python I'm not a fan of. Python I don't like because of the fact that it's got the active white space. I'm sorry. The only time I've ever liked active white space was in Fortran 77. And that was a long time ago. And it had a purpose. Is my timer about to go off? Quite likely, but in that case, we're going to have to... I've got 6 minutes. So we need to test to see if this works. So let's get to it. Seems like it's a job for me. Okay, we've got our chipmunk. We've got another DCM board. This one actually has the connector properly done. This bedded AM will spin. This is going to be a real disappointment for the night. This is their crossflex. Seems to be okay. Right, here we go. Sonia, PayPal's like that in the US as well, is it? Okay, well, good to know it's not just Australia. I mean, I personally don't have a problem. In fact, it actually saved me a lot of trouble, because what I've got a problem with is that with Flexboard View purchases, they're in US dollars, but I can't really declare them as income or tax them as income until I actually use those US dollars, because otherwise they're like quantum dollars or Schrodinger's dollars. Until I actually use them and the conversion rate applies into Australian dollars, I don't know how much I'm actually earning. So when the Australian Tax Department says PayPal says you've got this many Australian dollars, I thought, fine, I'm going to use their figures. I'm going to take out what I know I've already declared, and then the rest I'm going to declare as being what my US dollar value is. Okay, here we go. Boo! Oh no, yep. Fan spin, lights, MagSafe. We want our green blinky. If this blinks green, we've got to win. If it doesn't, it's a wah wah. Dave Jones style. Come on, green blinky. No green blinky? Green blink. Yes. That took a while, actually. Not sure why. That took a little longer than I would expect. Anyway, that's it. We've got to win, and we've got 3 minutes left. Now, of course, unlike with Mr. Rossman channels, this is not the end of the story. We naturally will now take this and get ultrasonic, and that's still not the end of the story. We have to put it back into the chassis, test everything, do it properly. We are not of the church of fan spin and ship it, okay? We are not so flippantly casual like that. We actually take things seriously here. We have pride in our work. We don't always blame the customer. Okay, a lot of the time we do. But we don't tell them that. I'm going to stick it into here and see if we actually get a screen come up. No, I'm only joking about Lewis. He's a good bloke. He's done a lot for the industry. I know a lot of people find him a little hard to take with his the style that he goes for, but that's him. And you know, I certainly owe him a lot, and I'm thankful for what he's done. He's certainly propelled, particularly my software business, he's propelled that immensely further than what I ever could have. I'm sure he gets free licenses out of me, but then again, the value of what I get from his constant chitter-chatter about my software, I get so much more out of that relationship than what he does. All he gets is a piece of buggy software that he yells at all the time. Oh, damn it. Okay, we'll just hold down the option key. The alarm's going to go off any second, but I actually put a couple of minutes padding into it. Come on. Come on. Yeah! There we go. Yeah, I mean, Lewis is not fair. I mean, there are times when, some videos of his I just don't watch because I'm like, nope, I'm not here to watch this side of Lewis. But, if I ever did go to New York, then I'd consider dropping in and saying hello if he's available. But I also wouldn't want to, disturb him too much. And there is a great deal of truth in the whole thing of, try not meet the people that you see on the internet and things like that, because we are different to what we're like on stream. Like for me, I talk a lot here and I seem to interact with a lot of people, but in reality, I actually don't like dealing with people at all. People turn up, I'm like, people. On the other hand, if you're a cat, then by all means. Flux Wars, yeah. Okay, this is taking a little longer than I'd expect to boot, but it's probably because it hasn't got a battery in it. And Damaris, yes, yeah. Never meet your idols. I think what's good though is that Lewis has. Yeah, I don't really consider him in that idol sense or anything anymore. I do certainly respect his view on businesses, how to do business, although I think he he's got a different strategy to what he's doing, and part of that is probably or perhaps because he's young. I don't mean immature, I just mean young. Uh, a lot of us, when we are around that age, do have that sort of attitude, and then if all goes well, then you continue on with that attitude. But sometimes you do get struck down by something, or something changes in your life, and you divert off that kind of path, and you become content to effectively become the corner store grocery man. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. I just mean you develop a sense of contentment in doing that, not because you lack the initiative or anything like that, but rather perhaps because you come to appreciate a different style of life, or the fact that you just want to do something different. There's a lot of .com burnout people, myself being one of them. Um, we went like hell and fire during those years, and it cost us. So you do, after a while, decide, you know what, I am actually kind of content being a sole trader and just pitter-pattering along like I am. As long as I've got a reasonable amount of business happening, I'm content. Okay, so this is working. So I'll give this a wash, set it up properly tomorrow, do the full tests in their chassis to make sure everything on their system is okay, because remember we had liquid damage in there, so we'll probably see maybe keyboard problem, maybe trackpad problem, things like that. But that's all for off stream and tomorrow. And maybe tomorrow we'll do a different machine. I might have a 1707 that was supposed to be done tonight, but we've run out of time. So anyway, I am out of here. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Perhaps I'll see a few of you next time. I know there's a lot of you I will see, but some of the new people that turned up, it'd be good to see you when I stream again, and it may be 24 hours time or so. Just have to subscribe and find out. Until then, you all take care. I'll see you later.